crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm G, and we are so happy that you're with us today. It is Technique Tuesday, so welcome. We are going to make a card that is a panel card, a tri-panel card, but we have some tips for you. We're going to make it so easy that you're going to want to run and make this card. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get started. Now the stamp sets that we're going to use are Lighting the Way, because we're going to use this beautiful sentiment, and we're going to use the two-tone flora. Now these are new stamp sets that you can get from Stampin' Up! In the mini catalog. If you don't have a catalog, email me. I'd love to send you a copy. So the first thing we need to do is cut our paper. Now get out your trimmer, and we are going to cut our paper at 5.5 by 11. So we're going to leave it the length, but we're just going to cut it at 5.5. Now we're going to extend the arm on our trimmer because we need to make some score lines. And our first score line that we're going to make is at 1.5. So go ahead and put it in your trimmer. Make sure that you move this cutting blade out of the way and score it at 1.5. Now the next one that we're going to do is at 4.5. So move it on over and score. Now we are going to score at 7 1/4. So move that over and score. Now we're just going to put this to the side because we will need this to cut our panel mats. Now, the easiest way to fold this is to make sure that the big piece that you have, you can see our score lines possibly. The big piece is on your right. You're going to fold to your hand, now fold back, and now fold forward. Now take your bone folder and really reinforce those folds. Make sure you do the top, but make sure you do the bottom too, right here. Okay, now this is such a quick and easy way to make a tri-panel card. Usually they're a little bit more difficult than this, but the next thing we want to do to make sure that it stays where it needs to be is our card is folded. We are simply opening up the card, bring in your glue, and we're going to put glue right here on this side. Do not put it over here because this panel is a little bigger than this left side. And you would have some exposed glue. Now you don't want that. And we are just going to fold this back over and hold it so that it can adhere to the front of the card. And now look what we have. We have our tri-panel card. So easy. There we have it. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead and cut our panels. We have selected this beautiful 6x6 paper. Oh, it's almost too pretty to cut, but not quite. And it's called Fancy Flora. And we're also using the stamp set called Two-Tone Flora. So this is a whole bundle of products. Now, you're going to take this and you're going to put it in your trimmer, and you are going to cut mats for these panels right here. We only need 2. So our first mat is going to be 1 1/4. And then we're going to create a panel for this strip right here. Now it's a little smaller, so it needs to be 3/4 by 5 1/4. Now we're going to cut the 5 1/4 in just a moment. Let's go ahead and get the length. Now you still have all this yummy paper to create more cards. Let's put that to the side. And now we are going to cut it down to 5 1/4. both strips. Now we need some paper right here. You could use that DSP, the 6x6, but I wanted to bring in a coordinating color. So I went ahead and I brought in the stripes just to give it some interest. And this piece needs to be 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. So we have 2 3/4, and I have already cut it 5 1/4. And so now we can just put this trimmer to the side. Now let's bring in our base card and let's go ahead and lay down these beautiful mats. Look how pretty that is. So I'm going to lay the top one and the side one. And now we're going to bring in our middle DSP and lay that down. Making sure that you line up those borders so that we have a border around each side. And look at how beautiful this is. So very pretty. Now, because this is a colored base card, a tip for you is you need to make sure and cut a mat right here. So let's go ahead and do that. And I want to remind you that all our measurements and our supplies will be listed over on Creative Moments by G, my blog. So you can head on over there to get your supplies to recreate this beautiful card. Now we're going to line this up and we're going to leave a little space on it because we want it behind this flap. And see, that way it doesn't interfere with the beautiful design that you have, but now they have plenty of spaces to write their sentiment. Now we need to decorate the front. We're going to bring in these beautiful dies called rectangle stitched framelits. They are wonderful. And we have used whatever size that you feel you need to create a beautiful image on the front of your card. Let me show you what we are going to create. Now we're going to put down some paper because I don't want to get my table messy. And we're going to bring in these two-tone stamps from that stamp set. And I'm going to bring in this sentiment and I'm going to put it right here in the middle. Now, the inks that we're using today are Tahitian Tide, Starry Sky, Garden Green, and Night of Navy. And I'm using my Night of Navy to stamp my sentiment because I really like the way that it stamps nice and dark. Tap, tap, tap. Put this right in the middle. And we are going to create the scene around our sentiment. So we can close this. We're going to open our two blues that we have. I'm going to move this over. And our base color of our flowers will be this Tahitian Tide. So let's tap, tap, tap. And the flowers will go off. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to bring in the smaller one. And now we're going to stamp in the darker color to give it that definition. And you are going to love how these flowers pop. Tap, tap, tap. And now we're going to bring in some leaves. But our next tip that we want to give you is when you're working with leaves and you want them to look like they come behind the flower, you need to have a mask. So we just cut out one of the flowers, and it doesn't have to line up perfectly. Just kind of put it on your flower and then back it down a little bit so that it will stamp almost as if it's behind your flower. So let's grab our leaves. Look how perfect that looks, like it's behind the flower. Now we're going to do the same right here. And we're going to maybe put just a few leaves right here. And now we used the next size rectangle, and we're going to put this right on top. We're going to use some dimensionals. And we're just going to take the back off and put it right on the top of this mat. Now look how pretty that is. See those leaves? They look like they're right behind the flower. So pretty. Next, we're going to bring in our card, and we are going to glue just this side right here. So get it right where you want it. We have our border right here. So I know that I need about a 1/4 amount of glue right here, just a 1/4 of this little area. So I'm just going to put a strip of glue. Now look at this card. This is a tri-panel card, but so easy to create. You could actually write here if you wanted to write a message, but you have your area right here. Now here is this cute little gnome that we created. There's no one better than you. We use those alternating colors of DSP that just really give it some interest. And finally, we have one more card to show you. Look at this beautiful card. Now this one is from Cottage Rose. These flowers are so beautiful. And look at that. This is actually double-sided DSP, and it's the back side of this. So very, very pretty. Take a moment right now and let us know which of these cards you like best. Which is your favorite? This is using Calypso Coral, Starry Sky, and then our white base. We would love to know. Well, we just appreciate you stopping by watching Technique Tuesday. Let us know your thoughts on our cards below this video. Go out, make it a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.